Hey up, and welcome to the last in this series of videos from Northumberland. And we left our accommodation on the Friday morning, and didn't want to get down to St Mary's Lighthouse too early, so we stopped off on the way and we went to a little village or town called Amble, and we had an amble round Amble. Now, I promised Helen that we wouldn't do much photography, if any photography in Amble. It would be a nice, gentle walk round, bite to eat, drink, a few shops, and then we'd go and do some serious photography down at St Mary's Lighthouse. Well, as we walked around the harbour, I noticed this lighthouse at the end, and yeah, it was time to get the camera out. So here's a few shots. Okay, I also took a few, what I'll call snapshots as well, of Amble, so you can see them. So it was a nice, pleasant walk around the harbour and part of the town. So we finished off in Amble after a nice cake and cappuccino, and made us way down to St Mary's Lighthouse near Whitley Bay. And when we arrived, the car park was quite busy, but the difference was the wind was howling above that cliff, really howling. And the Pocket Osmo struggled to sort of reset itself, and the gimbal was moving around, and you can see from this footage it was a struggle to film B-roll, and I put Helen in charge of doing the B-roll, and she kind of gave up because this would not behave. So I started off on the top of the cliff. There was this couple having the wedding photos done, with the lighthouse in the background. What a great backdrop to have your wedding photos taken. I did feel for the bride though, because it was freezing and she was in a dress, and yeah, she'll remember that morning, I'm sure she would. But I bet the two photographers got some cracking pictures. So I started taking images from the top of the cliff, and we'd got waves converging together over these upright wooden posts with the lighthouse in the background. So I played around with exposures there for a little to get a shot, and then eventually I moved down onto the beach, and because the tide was going out, we started to get some shots where the rocks, the nice wet shiny rocks, were being uncovered by the receding tide. So I spent a while on the beach. Helen eventually sent me a text from the cliff above saying she was going back to the car because she was freezing cold. She was going back to read a book. Okay, so, and she took the Osmo with her, unfortunately. So I carried on the beach for a little while. Then I went back to the car for a bite to eat and see if I can entice Helen back out into the cold and the wind. So given the choice, would you sit in the car where it's nice and warm and you've got your Kindle and you can read your book, or would you come down to the seafront and get blown to smithereens? Well, she stayed in the car. So I went back out with the Osmo and tried to do some filming again. And it was still blowing a hoolie, as they say, down on the front there. Well, the tide now was starting to move out. We'd still got some nice light, the sun was setting, and it was almost perfect conditions. It was the best light we've had whilst we've been in Northumberland. I really wish the light had been better, but we just can't get light all the time. We have to take what we're given from the light gods. So I was perched at the end of some railings here, just taking shots as the tide was slowly moving out. I've got another photographer next to me. We kind of nodded, we didn't get into conversation. He eventually moved out onto the causeway because it was now, the tide was low enough to walk onto the causeway, and he kind of got in my shot, which I wasn't too bothered about because I could just airbrush him out. So I moved down from where the railings were down onto the causeway, and I moved just left of the causeway, and the lighthouse was reflecting into a pool of water, and that did make quite a nice shot. There was lots more opportunity. And I probably could have stayed there another hour after the sun went down, but I kept getting these texts saying, "Are we going yet?" We'd got a 3.5 hour drive home. I was driving, and we did stop on the way back for a coffee and a piece of cake to keep us going. But yeah, I could have spent another hour on that beach capturing sunset, but bless her, she'd been sitting in that car a long time. Okay, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed all the Northumberland videos if you've watched them. Consider subscribing to the channel if you like this content, sharing the video, giving the video a like, or pop in a comment in the bottom. Here's a preview of the next video where we go off to the Peak District, and I need to solve a problem that I'd noticed. And it was Helen who noticed it, because I generally carry 3 lenses with me, 14 to 24, 24 to 70 and 70 to 200, and she'd noticed that I hardly use 2 of my lenses. I mainly use the 24 to 70, and this got me thinking. But you can see that in the next video. Here's a preview. I'll see you later.